Martins. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of Grassroots Chats. With all that's happening in the world, I'm very happy to see these two gentlemen with me in the studio. We have the wonderful 3 weeks in a row, Arsenal doing really well. Big Steve has probably not washed that jersey. And today we have a special guest in the building, a man that knows torture, supporting Bournemouth and Leeds. And of course, with the wonderful story that just happened to Marcelo Bielsa, we have Big Donk in the house. How you doing, sir?
Good to be here. Yeah, I'm not wearing the Leeds shirt because it's at half mast on a flagpole out the front of my house. So,
well, ladies and gentlemen, if you like what we do, what we say, please hit that red button, subscribe, like, and follow us and help us with this wonderful journey. So, there's only one place to start with all the wonderful things that's happening in football, and we are going to start with the sacking of the legend, the man that everybody felt could do no wrong, the man that I've been questioning on this show for about 6 to 7 episodes. Mr. Bielsa, or Bielsa, whatever, was sacked. I'll start with you, Donk. Leeds fan, true and true. You know what happens up there. Is this a possible... looking at the last couple of games, the amount of goals you have conceded, the fact that the tactics don't change. Yes, you have had injuries. Was this sacking justified?
On results, yeah, probably. But I and probably most Leeds fans probably not too happy about it. If I'm right, I think Phillips and Cooper are due back imminently. So there's two players that surely have to make a difference when they come back into the team. But yeah, I think the kind of consensus from Leeds fans is give him till the end of the season, and he wasn't. So... it's that situation. It's the first time Leeds have been in it since coming back in the Premier League of, oh my God, we might get relegated, hit the panic button. And we'll have to see how it pans out. We're in that stage now. It's that risky phase where it could go either way. There's been loads of examples of clubs that have hired new managers and stayed up. There's clubs that have gone down with new managers, stayed up with existing managers, gone down with existing managers. So it's that unknown period now about who are we going to get? Are they going to have an impact, and can we get out of it?
Well, it's good that you say that in this time. I would have thought, this is a man that signs only 1 year contracts. So it's not like there would have been any problem in terms of compensation or lack of compensation. He is a legend, true and true. The people love him. He could do no wrong. But as you say, though, it is justified based on the results and the way things have gone for Leeds in the past couple of games, 6-0, 4-2, 3-0 here, giving out goals like it's Christmas. And the only thing, though, so why problem is, I've questioned the man because you have coaches and managers that change the tactics during a game. As far as I'm concerned, Marcelo only changed personnel. Big Steve has been in the studio. I've questioned this a million times. Big Steve, was this sacking justified just on the basis of results or the fact that the man looked like he had nothing new to give?
Both. I'd agree with you there, to be honest. The results have been horrible. It's because it's been heavy defeats. And also, it's not just that the team that they're playing against has scored, 100% of the chances. They've also missed a couple. So, the Liverpool game could have been 8 and 9-0 and stuff like that. And then plus, he's not changing it. He's not saying, all right, I'm missing Phillips, I'm missing Bamford. Let's be a little bit more defensive-minded. Let's stop the one-to-one, not man-to-man marking. Just try and change it up a bit. But I don't know if appointing someone's actually going to get him out of it. Because to change those players' mindsets to a different style of play when they're missing key players in Phillips and Bamford, it's a big ask. If anyone was going to do it, it would have been him, when he's got a full set of players to play with.
So, Dunk, what do you think the difference is? So last season, Leeds pretty much outran everybody. It was stamina, score or be scored. You could never take your eyes off the screen with Leeds. He did fall short in terms of anytime he played any of the so-called Big Six, any of the bigger teams, he was going to lose because of the way he was set up, giving out goals. Come the season, injuries and whatever has happened. Now, and for some reason, Leeds are not running as much as they used to. They're not covering as much ground. Is this just based on the fact that certain key players are out? Is it based on the fact that you don't have enough players in the squad? Or was this just a case of the man was just way too stubborn to have a plan B?
The first two things you said, yeah. So definitely the key personnel out. So I think I said this last time, like three weeks ago. Like if someone like Phillips is out, you can't just pull in the next lad and say, right, play like Phillips. Like that's not going to happen. If you think about teams in the league, like there's only I don't know, maybe two teams that could do that. Maybe you might say Man City and Chelsea, possibly Liverpool, where like they can just bring in different players and keep the same system and play as they were. But like that is not happening as you go further down the table and teams with smaller squads. So there's definitely that. So you've got Phillips, obviously really important boss in the midfield, and you've got Bamford as well. The way he plays up front, like he plays the role of dropping in deep, and he's the goal poacher. Like no one's replaced him. He's trying to rely on who we got, like Rodrigo, different type of player. So it's not going to work in that system. Then you've got the small squad. So he's always insisted on a small squad for whatever reasons he has at that. But I think you've got to look at the board as well and the recruitment policy. Like to not sign anyone in January, I was quite surprised about that. Like they were already struggling this year, and they don't bring in any other signings. I saw as well a few of the comments like questioning the club's transfer policy, which is fair enough. You've got Rafinha, who's been a massive success, but there's a good few players there. So I mean, Rodrigo's a good player. He's not an out-and-out goal scorer. Never has been, like in his career. You've got players like Firpo has been a disaster, I would say. Like particularly the last few games. Watching the highlights today against Spurs,
well,
he was.
You went back to watch the highlights? Wow.
Oh yeah. All in the name of research. But yeah, Firpo, like the first goal, he was nowhere. Harrison was the one closest to the guy who scored the first goal. Like having to track back. I really rate Harrison. I think he's a great player, but I don't think Firpo's done a good job.
There are some players that are in there that, if Leeds does get relegated, I think a lot of clubs will actually be going for those players. However, we don't know. Leeds currently sits 16th on the table, 1 point above Everton that's 17th, and of course you have Burnley that is looking like they've found their form. So it's probably going to be between Brentford, Leeds, Everton, Burnley, Watford, Norwich. I mean, Watford and Norwich will probably go down. But Big Steve, man, this usually comes. The case is simple. You have a style of play that you like to implement. It's not working. You claim that you don't have the certain players. Surely you should change the system to the players you do have. He put Daniel James up front. It's working. So I'm sure you can change other things instead of being stubborn.
Agreed. You've got to use the resources that you have the best way that you can. And if that means changing formation to suit the personnel you have, then you have to do it. And that's the sign of good management. Identifying the tools you have and then using them to do the best job. If you're missing someone like Phillips in the midfield and Bamford up front, then you have to change your style. If you have to be more defensive, not do man-to-man marking across the whole pitch. Just shore it up a bit.
There was a point in the game that I think, I don't know if I think it's Harrison, was man-marking Son. And I don't even know. I mean, Leeds just look like they were all over the place. So, I mean, the question here is simple. Do you think this guy gets another world-class job because he's very highly rated in the managerial, system, managerial sector? And my question still stands to Big Dunk and Big Steve. Is he a world-class manager? I'll start with you, Dunk. Let's start with you. Go with you, Dunk.
He's I guess he's got that reputation. He's really highly rated by people like Guardiola and Pochettino. You look at the jobs he's had, like he's not done anything to justify that tag, I would say. He's definitely got something about him though. the way he
something
comes
about
in and
him.
does
Why
things.
are you making it sound like it's some dead dating app, like it's the Tinder or something? There's something about the guy.
Well, he could totally change the ethos and atmosphere at Leeds when he came in. I don't know. You could say it was because they were a championship team at the time, but I think he's got way more out of those players than could be expected, and that's again another thing. Opinion there is like the lead squad. Half the lead squad is probably championship standard still, probably because they haven't upgraded the squad enough in key areas.
Big Steve?
I wouldn't say he's world class because I don't see him. I didn't say he's world class before. He's respected in the game by a lot of top managers, but I don't think he's world class because he's not. His name's not linked with the big world class jobs, if that makes sense. I see him doing. He can get a lot out of, as Big Dunk says a team like Leeds where they're championship players and make them really excel and play above themselves. But to me, I don't see him doing that with a top set of players. And you have to have some flexibility in your approach to be world class. You've got to be able to change and bend a bit. You can't just be outright stubborn and that's the way it's going to be. No, it doesn't work.
Well, we wish him all the best. I hope. Probably, as I said, he does have a good reputation and probably will get another job. I see him as one of them guys, as you mentioned. He will go in and change the mindset and, project the team to a particular standard. But I don't know if he will continue or he can take them to the next level. And speaking about levels, I mean, Leeds did play Tottenham. Tottenham won 4-0. I think it was a very good game for Tottenham, considering the fact that Antonio Conte practically almost sacked himself, if that was the case, in the sense that he was saying he was pretty much saying that I don't know what's wrong with his team. It can't be the manager's fault. And I mean, what was your take on that, Big Dunk? What did you see? I mean, he pretty much said it can't be the manager's fault. I mean, good managers have come in and things are not working. What was he trying to say?
He's doing a bit of the old hokey cokey, isn't he? Left foot in, left leg out. Yeah, it sounds like from that interview he gave, it sounds like he's angling for a payoff. Like that's what it sounded like from the interview. And then the next interview, he's like, no, I never said that. Like this team's great. Or what was it he said before? That it was the best group of players he'd ever worked with. So yeah, it's a strange situation. Again, hard to know there. Is he getting on with the players? Is it the way the club's run? Is Daniel Levy interfering in anything? Like it's an odd one. But again, we were just talking about world-class managers. Now Conte is a top manager. There's no doubt in that. He's got the credentials. He's been there, done that. So when he comes into a club like Tottenham, he's expecting to make a difference, and it's not happening instantly. So again, I don't know what his angle is. He's trying to deflect from something or trying to point out that there's issues at the club that are beyond him.
Well, who knows? Big Steve, what do you think about your wonderful North London brothers? What do you think Conte was trying to say? Or trying to do?
How much time have we got?
Please, speak away.
Basically, Tottenham's last 3 games have been, how can I say it? Man City was, as I said, a perfect game for them to play because of the way Man City style and they can counter-attack them. And Tottenham's clinical up front. Burnley, completely different. Tottenham have to create. They struggled and they lost. Leeds, again, plays into Tottenham's hands, and Tottenham's got quality strikers, so they'll win the game. Conte, the concerning thing for me, if I was a Tottenham fan, is that why is Daniel Levy and Conte not on the same page? Because it's not to say they went for him in the summer, he didn't come. They've gone for him in October or whenever he came in. You would think all the conversations they should have had that were at least taken to the end of the season, plans around transfers, what's going to happen with the squad. But Conte seems surprised that the players are not up to a certain standard, which to me is very concerning. They should all be on the same page. So what happens, I don't know. But I'm not going to cry about it.
My problem with the shifting conversations with Tottenham is that when they win a game, it's a different story. When they lose a game, it's back to Conte, Levy, Conte. Well, you don't know what they're doing to me. And then he has that funny feeling. But they did win 4-0 against Leeds. It was the best time for them. It will give them confidence. Harry Kane looked really good. Him and Son have broken the record for a duo with 37 goals created. And they are looking all right. Kulusevski, I've been singing his praises. The man looks wonderful. He looks like, as a new signing, should look nice and embedded in the team. It will be interesting to see what happens moving forward. But then, Bielsa is gone. Conte is still around. Now, somebody that might be gone as soon as he came in because of results might be Super Frankie Lampard. What is going on with Everton? I think what happened is, let's just start with that incident. First things first. That was a penalty. That Rodri's handball, that definitely was a penalty.
Now, a couple of weeks ago, we was discussing about the West Ham one.
Yeah.
Right?
Uh-huh.
This one, I don't even understand how it wasn't given as a pen. Yeah? Because it's not even that thing we was discussing and saying, it hit the shirt and all that business there. It was like below his elbow or something like that. And as Lampard said himself, he's got a 3-year-old daughter at home that would have called that a penalty.
And then you could even tell from the reaction of the player. You could tell the entire team, nobody went up to the ref to even, pretend like, oh, come on, that wasn't a handball. You could tell that these guys are expecting, it should be a penalty. But VAR actually, they looked at that a couple of times. And Big Don, can you please explain to me, maybe there's something to me and Steve don't see properly. How was that not a penalty?
No, I can't explain it. So that settles that one. Yeah, I can't believe it either. That he, particularly as the fact he was under no real pressure from any Everton players, so he's just clearly on his own and like controlling it. Well, not intentionally, okay, but it came up and hit his arm, and the VAR said. What did they say? It wasn't clear and obvious that it was in the red zone.
Lord have mercy. Lord have mercy.
To everyone else watching, it was fairly clear and obvious, but apparently not to VAR. So it's just a VAR shocker. Like we've seen a few of them this season.
So sometimes it baffles me considering the fact that these guys actually have lines and they have, softwares and this stuff. And I'm sitting here at home looking at this thing and you can tell that was such a handball. Everton did play well, though. They looked like they created some chances. They looked like it would have been one of them games that could have ended, 0-0 or Everton winning. But of course, last minute, Foden doing, the mistake, lack of concentration, boom, and it's a goal. Now, it's very shaky. This is a position that Everton haven't been in for a very, very long time. And at the last time they were in this position, there were talks about not enough money being spent on the team, blah, blah, blah. But now there's the good players in the team. They have a good manager. They have Frank Lampard. They have Ashley Cole, who is helping out Frank Lampard. Everything looks good. I know he's not going to be able to turn things around in terms of the mindset from going, 13 games unbeaten. But this is scary. Everton is 17th. 17th in the table. Big Steve, are they staying up?
Yes, they will stay up. The advantage for all the teams down there is the fact that Brentford have played a couple more games. I think Brentford's played 27 games or something like that. So all the teams, if they win their games in hand, or even one or two of their games in hand, they'll push Brentford right back down the table because I think Brentford's played 27 and all the rest have played no more than 25.
So Brentford has played 27 games. Leeds has played 26. Everton has played 24. Burnley has played 24. So, it's one thing having games in hand, but will you win the game in hand? That's the question.
No, I know that's the question, but I just think with me, I think Everton, Burnley will win or get results out of those couple of games in hand. And it's not to say, I think they're only like 2 or 3 points behind Brentford.
Well, Brentford has, 24 points. Mm-hmm. And then Leeds has 23 and Everton has 22. So this could be a situation where Brentford starting so well and doing all that magic initially, you see them being the last guy that goes down, especially with Burnley pushing.
Yeah, I think it's a case of between Brentford and Leeds, because it's the fact that they got rid of Bielsa. This new manager's got to come in and he's got to get some results.
Okay,
it's a lot of pressure with it, but I think Everton and Burnley, they've got enough nous about them to actually pick up points and climb up the table.
Dunk, what do you see? Do you see Everton staying up, or do you see them staying up at the expense of your wonderful Leeds?
I think they will stay up. Yeah, I have to say, when we spoke about relegation a few weeks back, there, I wasn't overly worried about Leeds, but now I'm definitely worried, like big time worried about what's going to happen. Again, like this could go either way now, depending on who comes in. I think Everton will. The slight worry is, apart from his first game, he's not had that instant impact that you want from new managers, like a Gerrard had. He probably had a bit more success in his first few games. He's had his blips now, but he's kind of back on track. So there's that. But yeah, you look at the teams around. I can't see Everton going down with the teams around. Like Steve said, Brentford are well in the mix now. What the stat with them was, they haven't won in 8. I think that was a stat for Brentford, so they're on a big slide.
I mean, the good thing that happened to them this weekend is, Eriksen came on the pitch, which was very nice to see, considering what happened to him at the Euros. He played a good amount of minutes, and for somebody that hadn't played since his heart issue, it was really good. Yes, they did have a man sent off in that game against Newcastle, but this was a battle at the bottom pretty much. And it's funny how, at some point Brentford was never mentioned in the relegation battle, but now they're being mentioned. And Newcastle is slowly coming out. Where is Neil when you need him to tell you, and I told you so? So, I mean, it's pretty certain that we don't see, even with losing Trippier, Callum Wilson, and a couple of other players. Here's one for you, Big Steve. And I know you were one of the first people that attacked this individual. Joe Linton.
My man, Joe Linton. Did you see his goal?
Linton. Joe Linton looking good, man. Looking good. He's not. First of all, he's not a midfielder. Man is not. He's now a midfielder.
I know, but he put that away with great passion, man. And he done another Bayo, ran the whole length of the pitch to celebrate with the fans, man. I tell you.
He probably heard your voice, man. He probably heard your voice attacking him. I mean, Big Steve said, can you imagine that if Joe Linton scores, it's like an eclipse, man. You can see the guy. I was so happy for him. I was like, oh, if Big Steve can see this now. So it's...
No, Eddie Howe's getting stuff out of him, man. That you got to credit Eddie Howe with that. Playing him in the middle, playing him in midfield, and he's affecting the game. The games I'm seeing him play, he's affecting games now, not just some wandering dude up front trying to be a striker.
The question I do have for both of you, I'll start with Dunk though, because you guys were not in the studio when I asked this question. Eddie Howe keeps Newcastle up, fresh slate. Is he going to stay on as manager? Dunk, I'll ask you that.
Yeah, that's what I'd like to know as well. Like, what was the arrangement? Again, it's hard to tell what kind of arrangement they had. Obviously, Newcastle, with the money they've got, they've probably got their eyes on like a marquee signing manager. But you'd have to say, like, Eddie Howe deserves a chance at this stage. We'll see what happens for the rest of the season. But he's definitely getting the most out of those players at Newcastle. And like Big Steve said, Joe Linton, Ryan Fraser as well, players like that. Like they were not performing too well before, and he's getting the best out of them.
Well,
so he
sorry.
I was just going to say, yeah. So it looks like at this stage, if he keeps this form up, he deserves a chance. But they've probably got eyes on bigger prizes.
Eyes on bigger prizes. I mean, this is a guy that probably wasn't their first 3 choices, but he stayed. I mean, Newcastle is now 14th. They're actually, 2 points behind Leicester. It's wonderful how things change. And Burnley is playing Leicester next, which is amazing how things say. And we're moving up the table. Of course, we need to mention Friday night football. It was Southampton versus Norwich. Yes, Norwich, we know, is planted firmly at the bottom of the league. They are going to go down. But Southampton has been in good form. And on our future show, a couple of, 2 weeks ago, there were mentions about people not being world-class, like Ward-Prowse and all these guys. What do you think about Ward-Prowse, Dunk? I mean, if you look at the way Southampton's playing, he's very instrumental. Big Steve mentioned the fact that, he doesn't cover enough, he doesn't run enough, he's this, he's that.
It was you. It wasn't me. It was you. No. I was the one who said, I don't understand why Ward-Prowse is not mentioned in the same breath as Calvin Phillips and Declan Rice. That's what I was saying. I think he's underrated and the thing is, he's got slightly bit more to his game in terms of his passing ability, and his free kicks are like penalties. So I don't understand. You always hear like, oh, Chelsea's after Declan Rice or Man United's after Declan Rice, Calvin Phillips' his name, but you never hear any of the bigger clubs in the league looking at Ward-Prowse and it just seems like he's going to be another Matthew Letizia. very good, very talented player, just stays at Southampton and doesn't move on when he could. When I think he could play in pretty much nearly all the top teams' midfields.
What do you think, Dunk? Do you think does Steve have a point? Should he be mentioned in the same breath as Calvin Phillips? Is this because he does it for Southampton and he has not been given that chance? He has played a few games for England and he has played really well. But is this just based on not having enough, caps for England and Southampton? But Southampton they're doing really well. They're one of the most informed teams at the moment. What do you think about Ward Prowse and what's happening with Southampton?
Yeah, no, I'd agree with Steve. He is a bit underrated. Yeah, he's obviously quality. Like he can do the business. He performs the role. Yeah, he's another one. Like what would happen to Southampton if he got injured? Then you might see a bit more about the effect he would have on that team. But yeah, he's a quality player. Set pieces, obviously, that's what he's known for. Amazing passing, distribution. I think he's a really good player.
Because speak with my Arsenal hat on, right? If there's talk about Xhaka might go in the summer to Roma.
Again.
Why don't they? Yeah, exactly. Again, but would I take Ward-Prowse in the midfield of Arsenal over Xhaka? I would all day long. I think he's got a lot more to his game.
Well, we shall see. We shall see what happens. Let's see if they continue this good form. And Ward-Prowse, hopefully you'll be mentioned in the same breath as all the other wonderful players, especially now that some people are, Calvin Phillips and all these guys are injured. So we'll see what happens. World Cup here, everybody's trying to get on that plane.
He just needs to say Big Steve said so, and he's good.
All right, yes. Big Steve, yeah, let me speak to Big Steve. Speak to Big Steve. I like it. Now, here's the thing. You did mention the fact that Gerrard is back on track. Good win against, Brighton and Hove. That game started late because the Villa bus was late. So he seems like it'll be interesting to see Gerrard when hopefully next season, clean slate, more money, the amount of players he'll be able to attract, because him being able to handle Coutinho and Coutinho having a good season so far. Do you see Aston Villa with a good transfer market and good budget, Gerrard as a manager? Do you see Villa being in the top 8 next season? Donk.
I could see it, yeah, definitely. Again, with Gerrard, talking about comparing him to Lampard, as we did in the playing days many times, but he's never managed in the Premier League before, unlike Frank Lampard. So he's come in, he's done a solid job there with Villa. So again, Villa at the minute, like they were near the bottom of the table. They're not going to be winning every game. So he's got a positive record. They seem to be playing really well. He is willing to experiment with tactics. He was talking today with a win about playing Ings and Watkins up front together, playing both his number 9s and giving that a go. So he's willing to try things out. He was successful at Rangers, as little as a job you might think that is. Okay, he got his training in. He probably did it the right way to get the experience up there and did a good job there. So yeah, I'm impressed with him. Again, as his first Premier League job, I can see him doing well and going into next season with a transfer window. Yeah, top 8, possibly top 10. We'll give him in the top half. Be a push for the top 8. A lot of competition there with teams like West Ham, Spurs, Wolves, all those kind of teams. So time will tell. Obviously, we know Mystic Megs, but I think he'll probably get top half next season. Yeah.
So, Big Steve, explain this to me. If they could give Steven Gerrard a chance, a good budget, a clean slate, why wouldn't they give somebody like Potter for Brighton, who has consistently kept that team with not great, wonderful, world-class players? But yes, Steven Gerrard will probably have his playing days to help, and he is doing well as a manager. But why would somebody like Potter not be given that chance at a bigger club, for example?
Because Potter wasn't respected in this country as a manager.
He should be respected now.
Yeah, but he's still behind the pecking order of a Lampard and a Gerrard. The work he does at Brighton is, how can I say, it's not, to me, it's not respected enough what he does. The way they play, the limited budget that he operates on, and the style of football that they play. So he will always, how can I say, he'll have to do something astronomical to be picked ahead of a Gerrard or a Lampard when it comes to managerial roles.
No,
It's just that they take
astronomical,
that they take that playing thing with them. They still have it.
Astronomical, like what? Brighton needs to finish in a European spot. Needs to get far.
Probably in a European spot. It would help if he actually finished above them in the league as well. That would help them. That would help him. But I think this season he's probably starting to get a little bit more respect, I would say, as an English manager. If you think where he came from, Osterstands, he only got credit when he beat Arsenal at the Emirates. That's when people found out who Graham Potter was. The question is, he's a good manager. Why was he out there in the first place? Yeah. And he couldn't get a job here. I think that Gerrard will probably finish in the top 8 with good investment. But this summer's going to be very interesting because it's going to be his first transfer window. And he got Coutinho, and you have to think that he's got links to Liverpool, and Coutinho wanted to find a club. Digne wanted out of Everton. So it's going to be interesting to see his pull and what players he gets. That's where the player's not desperate to get out of a club.
Okay. Well, another team that we need to mention in terms of the manager and how he conducts a team, and for some reason they always seem to find this form towards the end of the season, is Burnley. I don't know why they leave it to so late. Dunk, do you see them going down with this, recent form? I mean, they've looked really good. They are currently sitting 18th, just behind Everton. Even if they still have they have played 24 games, 3 games in hand over the likes of Brentford. Why did they leave it so late? What happens? Is it they don't like the summer? They prefer spring? Why did they leave it so late?
Yeah, it's hard to tell when like teams consistently do that. I think Sean Dyche was saying that in his interview today. They were stronger in the second half. It's an odd one because I'm sure like no team would do that by choice. Like start slow and then strong. But again, they're another team. Like I think when we were talking about relegation spots a few weeks ago, I think we were all saying Burnley looks like their luck's run out, and then things change quickly. And yeah, on current form, they're moving fast. Like a couple of wins when you're in the relegation zone gets you moving up the table. So that they've got the 2 wins and the draw in the last 3 games, so they've got a bit of form behind them.
I've always said personally, if Sean Dyche keeps this team up again, if I was him, I'll retire. No. I can't do another 9 months of this up and down. That man must have made of steel or something.
Hey mate, ain't you seen him wearing his short sleeve shirt in big snow? This is Sean Dyche, man. Hard as nails, man. Hard as nails.
No, the man deserves some credit. I think he was one of those that he's like a Potter. I mean, we say this every year, and they congratulate him with low budget and keeping that team, but he seems to do it every season, and it's looking like it might happen again, unless something happens. Their next game is against Leicester. They seem like they've been in good form. Anything will happen. But whatever he does to those players come towards the later half of the season always seems to work. Always.
If Burnley win that game against Leicester on 27 and on a big slide as well, they're getting dangerously close to the mix, and no one would have put them anywhere near that at the start of the season.
Yep, especially with the way the last 2 seasons they've had and their manager. But there doesn't seem to be any talk about, what's his name? The Leicester manager. Yeah, Brendan. I mean, he was linked with the Man United job at some point. But will any team touch him now with the way his team is going? Yes, they have injuries and all that, but we shall see what happens between Burnley and Leicester. Well, moving on to a wonderful topic, though, Steve is already laughing, so he knows. I'll start with you, Doug, just so that Steve can compose himself. 4th spot, is it advantage Arsenal?
It looks like at the minute with the games in hand. That's 3 on the spin for Arsenal, so that's good form in anyone's book. That was a big important win against Wolves the other night, getting 2 goals late on. That's big. Like at this stage of the season, getting a win like that's got to give them some momentum, give the club a boost so they can put one over on a team that they were competing with for 4th spot. yeah, they're definitely looking good. Again, like things can change. You can look at the next run of results. It may go your way. But definitely at the minute, Arteta's got them firing, got them getting results anyway. Well, I say got them firing. They're probably not playing amazing if they had to leave it like till the 80 whatever minute what it was against Wolves. But again, the old cliche, you can grind out results like that, then you're looking good. So yeah, definitely looking good for Arsenal.
Advantage Arsenal, Big Steve?
Yes, it's advantage Arsenal because they've got games in hand. They're playing well. Results are going their way.
Trust in the process.
As I said a couple of weeks ago, last week, the Wolves game was a big game for both clubs. The fact that Arsenal managed to get the result, even though, like I said, the own goal that won us the game, it was a big boost. And what was even better for me from that game is that Arteta made choices that affected the game, and he won the game with the managerial decisions he made, bringing people on, slightly tweaking the formation. He identified something, made the changes, and put the personnel on to win the game. And that's what happened. So it was, to me, it is advantage Arsenal. It's in their hands to throw away, but who knows what can happen.
So now the question is, all of you that have been destroying this a certain guy, are you about to apologize to Pepe?
I haven't been destroying Pepe. I don't destroy Pepe. I know
that's Neil's job.
No. I know there's people that destroy Pepe. A wonderful finish, by the way. The thing is, I think whenever people look at Pepe, it's always the price tag first. Forget what he's doing on the pitch. It's always the price tag. That's what they see. So if you ask them what do they expect to see for that price tag, they can't tell you. I don't know if they expect him to play like Messi every week and stuff like that. But the guys, to me, you want more from him, but Arsenal's not been functioning or firing all the time. So it's not to say...
Come on now, Steve. Come on.
No.
This is one already. I do them teacher thing. Let me stop you right there, sir. Let me stop you right there. Why is it that every time we talk about the concentration of a player, you always go around talking about the team is this, the team is that? There are players that are standing out though. ESR, Saka, Martinelli.
Yes, agreed. But I'm not saying that Pepe should replace Saka because he's not playing well. But then we don't play a type of football that suits him. Yeah, and he's not handling that. For example, Pepe, if he's not got a fullback that's going around outside to draw a player away, Pepe's dead. Pepe, because they double up on him, and then he's not smart enough to release the ball quicker. He's got to do that. He gets the ball, holds on to it, and then has about 2 or 3 around him. That's why it's easy to get him out of a game. Yeah, but you want to get Pepe in situations where it's just him and the fullback. Whenever it's just him and the fullback, he'll beat the guy. Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. He doesn't have. He's playing like he's not maturing in his game.
Well,
is what I'm saying. Whereas someone like Saka, he's maturing in his game because he realizes if they double up on him, then he'll get the ball and release it quicker. He doesn't try and do something.
One of the interesting comments about that game is Arteta saying that, like I said, is playing like he wants to stay. I mean, that I don't understand. Probably mind games. Arteta probably knows better. What do you make of that statement? Say the man is playing like he wants to stay. Are you giving him a new contract? Have you offered him a new contract? They don't seem to want to tell us that, but they say he's playing like he wants to stay.
I think the hidden message there is if he does want to stay, keep playing like that and score a few more goals. I think that's the message coming across from Arteta to Lacazette.
Well, we shall see. Big Steve, should he stay?
No.
My God.
Just dead. He's dead to me. Cut him off.
The reason being is like we're into the last 6 months of his contract. You can put all that to bed. Yeah. It could have been put to bed already with giving him a new contract, sort it out. But the fact that your last 6 months of the contract, you lost the Aubameyang. If you wanted to stay, just sign the contract and done, innit? And move on. But now you've got to be starting to look at, in the summer, who's the new captain of the club. If you're going to clear him up, and you need a striker in.
Yeah, but could it be a case that he's probably asked for certain things on his contract? They're probably going back and forth. And now he's playing and showing you that he deserves what he's asking for. Could it be one of them situations?
No, because for me, as the manager, he's still not giving me what I need, which is goals.
Yeah, but
I give him a new contract. I'm still gonna sign a player who's gonna be ahead of him in the pecking order. So not unless he's prepared to play second fiddle.
But he's not. He's not there for just goals. He brings a lot more to the game than just goals, though.
No, I'm not disputing that. But at the moment, he's a striker. We need goals. So Arsenal's rumored to be buying quite a significant amount of money on a striker. So at the end of the day, if they get one in, Lacazette's going to be second fiddle. Does he want to stay there? Are you going to pay him that big money to sit down? He's not going to turn into adding goals to his game.
Well, we shall see what happens. I do think it's advantage Arsenal. Arsenal sits in 6th in the table, 3 games in hand. West Ham, Man United is 4th, West Ham 5th. Even if they have 47, 45 points, Arsenal has 45 points and they have 3 games in hand. Look at that smile from Steve. It's like the man is happy. I mean,
we have to win the games though.
True.
Oh, we talked about Burnley. Arsenal are infamous for fading out at the end of the season.
We shall see. But however, their next 4 games though is Watford, Leicester, which on paper should be winnable games for Arsenal, considering the form of those 2 teams. Yes, Watford did go to Old Trafford and get a draw. It was one of them games that, I mean, somebody did ask me, what's the problem with the team? And I've been saying it from now tomorrow, player accountability. We did play well against Watford, had a few chances, but nothing just seemed to work. But you can just tell that it was one of them things that you couldn't grind out the result, even with playing well. It's funny how Man United can grind out results. I don't know if you watched the Champions League game against Atletico. My good God, it was like 10 minutes of brilliance. However, we do have, the one thing that game gave us was the song for Anthony Elanga, man. That's this rhythm is a dancer, Anthony Elanga. My God,
That song,
yeah, classic song. He came from Scandinavia. He's United savior.
wow.
We were happy, but then you calm down, put the pressure on everybody else trying to go for 4th. Try and make it exciting in the sense that let them chase you and let them have games in hand and go, okay, wow, these guys are still winning. It might be an issue. Man United does. I do think it's advantage Arsenal. I think a lot of things will be decided when Man United play Arsenal, Man United play Tottenham, Tottenham play Arsenal. I think those games were very vital. But we shall see what happens. But moving away from the Premier League, let's go to a very exciting 0-0 cup final that happened between Chelsea and Liverpool. Very wonderful game. It didn't feel like it was a 0-0 game. That game could have been 3-3, 4-4. Everything seemed to be going well. So we'll start off with this. Kepa had been playing all games for Chelsea before the final. Tuchel makes a change, brings in Mendy. Mendy has a wonderful game. Good saves. Everything is going really well. Come penalty, they make a sub. Because the belief here is Kepa is good. Probably a better penalty stopper than Mendy. That's the only reason I can think you bringing him at that point. He comes in, he makes 1 goal line kick. That's the only kick of the ball he had. And then his next kick was trying to kill a bird in the sky. Can you tell, what was Tuchel thinking? Do you agree with bringing on a keeper because of his skills for penalty? Let's start with you, Doc.
I think that's fine. It's a lot better than like you saw it in the Euros where they were bringing outfield players on for penalties, and like that just did not work when they weren't warmed up or had the touches or got into the feel of the game. You could see it working with a goalkeeper. They've done it before and it's worked out. So I guess they were just on the same train of thought. Right, this has worked before, so we'll run with it. I don't know.
When has it worked before? It's never worked before.
They did it in the Club World Championship.
No. Tim Krul. Tim Krul's done it. He came on for Holland.
Yeah, I'm talking about Chelsea though.
Chelsea.
They've done it before, haven't they? With Kepa, they've brought him on for.
No, he refused. He refused to go off.
Oh, he refused to go off. There was that one.
He was like, no. And if I remember, they still lost.
Yeah.
So,
I can't remember.
Yeah, I remember they still lost. So I don't. Why, Big Steve? You goalkeeper. Goalkeepers union. It's always been your thing. You like to support the goalkeepers. You are in our playing days. You're a goalkeeper.
in our play. You make it sound past it. I haven't retired yet.
You haven't?
No, I haven't retired yet.
I'm pretty sure I've played at least 3 testimonials for you, but
I just mean I've had a long career. That means I've had a long career, 30 years. That's all it is.
yeah. But explain this to me. Your goalkeeper on the day is having a wonderful time. Mendy, wonderful saves. Why take him off?
The only reason he could have taken him off is because Kepa's meant to be good at penalties. If that's the case, Tuchel really needs to look at it, because if I remember rightly, I think Kepa went the right way 3 times for those penalties. And if you're a penalty specialist and you're really good at penalties, I would expect you to at least get close to most of the penalties, go the right way. But he was getting done. All his only tactic was to try and go back to his line late, and then try and sight the players out. But the Liverpool players were just putting them in.
Yep. I mean,
The best one was Fabinho.
ooh, that was a piss stick. That was in the cup final, just embarrassing the game. The thing is that even with the Van Dijk's penalty, he was standing right where the ball was played. You could say it was the power or whatever, but I think it was. But then, before we even get as far as the penalty, it was a good game of football. I think the players really played well. Chelsea had the likes of Reece James coming back.
But before you go off that subject, though, but Tuchel making that change actually put more pressure on Kepa, because you put a goalkeeper on to make a difference in terms of, he's going to start saving penalties, because that's the only reason you'll make the change. So Kepa come on and automatically had more pressure.
Well, to be fair, he was brought on to save, not to play.
Exactly.
So,
I called it.
Well, they probably won't be doing that again anyway.
well, let's probably won't be getting to too many finals now. But it's it was a good game of football. Liverpool at some point was dominating, and Chelsea was dominating. The defenders, Thiago Silva played really well. Rudiger. It was one of them games that everything went really, solid. And then you have with Liverpool though, was it a case of, with Chelsea, was it a case of not just taking your chances? Because they had loads of chances. Mason Mount, Pulisic, all these guys. Is in games like that, when you're not particularly, scoring or taking your chances, what do you need to do to boost the players to actually get there? Is it just making change in personnel, or do you just keep them going? That's how you talk.
If they're performing well on the pitch, you got to keep them going. It's going to happen to players that are going to have bad misses. Like Mason Mount missed a couple of glorious chances that he really should have at least have put one of them away. You can't just start making changes, particularly when you've got to keep one back for Kepa at the end of the game. You can't just keep making changes if a couple of chances are missed. But I'm sure, looking at the game, they probably thought they would have scored. It just didn't happen for them. Like the Man U game against Watford. Again, I was watching the highlights of that. How on earth they didn't get a goal in that game? So same thing. If I'm sure, as from the manager's point of view, if the chances are coming, you're expecting to get one. It just didn't come.
Big Steve?
Yeah, if the chances are, as Big Dunk said, if the chances are coming, you just keep going and you hope one of them goes in. The problem, you make changes to me when the chances are not coming. If you're not creating anything or not being a threat, then make the changes. But if you're creating the chances, some of the Pulisic one, the Mason Mount one, you've just got to put them away. Yes, maybe if someone like Lukaku's in that position, he may put it away. But then if he's on the pitch, does he get in that position to begin with? So if they're creating chances, leave it as it is, and hopefully one of them goes in.
Here's a question.
How many touches did he have today?
I was just about to ask that. How many touches? It looked like it was a bit more than 7. However, does he look? What was your feel of Lukaku, Dunk? How did you see him in today's game? Do you think he should have started, or does he look like he's lost some confidence? How's your feel about him today?
Oh, I'd say you've got to have lost some confidence after the 7 touches and the massive deal that was made about it, like the ridicule that was going on online. So he has to have lost some confidence. I guess so. Again, he's a fairly proven big game player, so you do want him in there. Like he'll surely get back at some stage, start getting some goals. But
I think if they were going to play Lukaku, they had to play through him and like play up to him and then work off the ball, work around him. Not like what Havertz was doing. Havertz was coming deeper, picking up the ball, running down the channels. He wasn't staying up against the centre back. If Tuchel believed that Lukaku could take on Van Dijk, then he would have started him, because you would basically say whoever wins that battle will hopefully win you the game.
Well, I've noticed when Chelsea play Liverpool, Van Dijk doesn't go with the one-on-one battle though. He always leaves it for Matip or Conte to go with the one-on-one battle. He just likes to sit to watch the game and sweep, which he pretty much did when Lukaku came in. It was Konate all over him. Well, I mean, Big Steve, you're always talking about how sometimes the team doesn't play around certain players. It's Lukaku's issue. I mean, if a striker to have 7 touches, surely cannot be on just the striker though.
No, that's the team. That's the team, the coach, the player. That's all parties involved there. 7 touches in the whole football match. That don't make no sense. Not at all. Even if the goalkeeper, if he got 7 touches, you would think what's going on, mate. To be honest. So that's the players. That's all players. So Lukaku included, and the manager. Because if he realises that the player's being that ineffective, surely you're not playing. What's the point of him being on the pitch? Doesn't make any sense at all. So to me, that whole situation's got a bit more to it. We're just not hearing about it all.
Well, we shall see what happens. Let's see the next couple of games he plays or whether he doesn't play. Well, that takes us to the wonderful point where we go play and flop of the weekend. Play and flop of the weekend. Let's start with you, Big Steve. Play and flop of the weekend.
Player of the weekend is Christian Eriksen.
Okay.
Just getting on the pitch. It's fantastic to see. Flop of the week. Wowza. It's got to be your mate, innit? Bielsa. It's got to be your mate, Bielsa. Man, it's just, wow. It's just, yeah. For Tottenham to do that to you. Not saying that Tottenham's incapable, but yeah, you just had a blueprint of how to play them against Burnley. Oh. And yeah, it's madness. So yeah, flop of the week is your mate, Bielsa.
All right. And of course, Big Dog, player and flop of the week.
I'll start off with flop of the week. It's Junior Firpo for getting Bielsa the sack. But in all seriousness, he is getting flop of the week. He was nowhere on Spurs' first goal, and he just lost his man on the second goal as well. Not been good. So Firpo is the flop of the week. Players of the week, I'm going to give it to Kane and Son, breaking the record. That pass from Kane for Son for that last goal was pretty spectacularly good. So I will give it to Kane and Son.
I mean, all credit is given to Mourinho for me, though, when it comes to the way Kane reinvented his game and drops very deep and has a good eye for the pass.
The problem with that, though, is that it only works with Son because how good a player Son is. You can't drop that for England and think you're going to get the same result because there's no Son.
Yeah, but against the final in the first half against Italy, he did that and he gave some sweet, glorious passes. But, I mean, if the guys don't finish after that, not much that he can do. I mean, even before Son's goal, he gave some wonderful passes in that game as well. But, you never know what's happening. Well, we shall see. Let's see how it works. It might work against Arsenal. We never know. Well, my flop of the week. My flop of the week definitely goes to Leeds as a city.
Wow, a whole city.
The whole city. To Leeds as a city.
Wow.
Everything, man. The man, you called the man a legend. You said he could do no wrong. This issue was coming from a long time ago. The wonderful fans, as wonderful as I like the fans of Leeds because they always support their team. Even with the little boos at halftime, they were still clapping and all that. You encourage the man to do crap, man. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yes. I'm giving everybody in Leeds, everybody, the off-license, the bougie places, everything is all your fault.
The Grassroots tour will not be stopping in Leeds. Just to let you know.
I give it everybody. And then player of the week. Player of the week, I'm going to give it to Southampton and Burnley, man. Consistency, looking good, fighting to stay in the league, solidifying yourself. I'm going to give it to those two teams.
Is that the whole town of Southampton, Burnley?
No. Just the teams. Just the teams this time. Just the teams. Well, first of all, with all that's happening in the world, and of course Ukraine, our heart goes out to all the families and everything that's happening there. Awesome Grassroots Chats. Hope that things get better. So hopefully we should have a wonderful, safe, and peaceful world. But as things continue to go on at this moment in time, it's been a wonderful week of football. Thank you very much, Big Dunk, for joining us in the studio. We shall see you on Wednesday for our next show. And of course, Big Steve, as always, positivity, happy. Let's see how long that lasts. So till then, it's goodbye from Big Steve. Goodbye from Dunk, and of course,
Catch you
goodbye
later.
from the Grassroots Chat studio. Good night.